It's lights out when I do my thing. It's man down when I enter the ring.
I'm the king of the ring.
Terphouse, put it down for the team. It ain't over till the champion sing.
I'm the king of the ring.
It's lights out when I do my thing. It's man down when I enter the ring.
I'm the king of the ring.
Terphouse, put it down for the team. It ain't over till the champion sing.
I'm the king of the ring.
Fight night, I'ma turn this shit to fright night. Knock 'em on their ass like Iron Mike. They go night night, sleepwalking, do the stanky leg, make his knees buckle. Terphouse Farmz, we just legalize the weed hustle. The body snatcher, like a Viking with a sword. Like a knight on his horse, I be striking with his war. Bare knuckle boxing, UFC to the Bellator. Top competitor.
Well. Today we got a really cool show lined up. People always say, when you get people on the show, you get fighters, but when you get people that's not fighters, like promoters and things, I always get people that I'm like, man, that's a cool job. Before I talk about who I got coming on, I got to shout out my sponsors. Terphouse Farmz. You see it right there, Terphouse with the Z, MMACOIN. Crypto, they're actually a lot of crypto companies right now are kind of struggling. I think they got about 1,500 people still with the coin, so it's doing good. And HKA USA. But like I said, the guest today, I was looking and I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, when you're like standing like right there behind those guys, and I'm like, that's really cool. And then like, for instance, like right there, and then David, you got your own. David gets you your own little, like something cool, like something like that. And I'm thinking to myself, I got to get this guy on the show. So this guy's a legend in the fight game. I don't even know where to start, but we have Mr. Tom on the show today. Look, I showed the picture and everything, and I'm living through you because what's going on in your mind in those pictures? Like, are you thinking, please don't fight each other? What are you doing? That's like the coolest thing.
No. About what you talk about the London show MVP and Michael Perry.
Oh no, this one right here. Hold on a second. I'll show you this one. This is one of my favorite pictures because I'm a huge fan of Tom and everything. And this picture right here. I mean, you're like standing like right there.
Okay.
I mean, that's the cool. I mean, that's like gangster right there. What's going on in your mind in those pictures?
It's funny because I look at both these guys and Tom Schoaf and whatnot. I just sit there and I go in my mind. I think about this is going to be a great fight. This could be fight of the night. Yeah. So I'm constantly standing there watching. There are some guys that get up there and you want to know if they're going to go at it. If they're going to if you've got a Lorenzo Hunt on your hands or something.
Yeah.
But most of these guys are gentlemen, and I've gotten to know so many of them so well. That in any combat sport, it becomes your family, your extended family. So over the last 3 years, I've really gotten to know a lot of these guys. And when I'm up there and just watching, this is going to, in my mind, I'm thinking about the fight. This is going to be a great fight.
I know, man. I'm thinking the atmosphere, just feeling, those guys are like, hey, they're there and you're sitting there. It's kind of like, it's just you and them. It's that's got to be it's like being in the ring as as the referee. It's kind of the same feeling.
That is very true. I miss reffing. I miss fighting, but being a ref, you're third man in, and it's kind of like every fighter has one more fight. But yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. When you're that close to them and you feel the energy, and you know them, it's very personal. It is very personal. You are vested.
I know. That's why I was like, man, it's got to be intense. It's kind of like, that's your job. And like a lot of people get up, they go to, they're going to work, do whatever they're doing. I mean, you literally get to stand like right. That's got to be something. That's a cool feeling.
And before we get there, what I'm doing even now, you're on the phone, texting, emailing, getting all their medicals together. You're talking to them. Or the day after a fight, I call them. I call every single fighter the next day or the day after to find out how they're doing, what they're feeling, whether they won or lost. And it's important to keep that line of communication, and they appreciate it. And you get phone calls, and they, for whatever they need. you're there for them. You're like a parent. And what I do as a regulator, I'm not the matchmaker. I'm not David Feldman. I'm just one of the guys. I'm just an old fighter. And
I look, I'm glad you said regulator because I'm right here in close to Nashville, Tennessee, and they're talking about the night Tennessee was. They were talking, and it mentioned the regulator, and it brought your name up in the Tennessee thing, and that was like a few days ago, and I thought that was pretty cool. So I mean, you got to, there's a song, Regulators Mount Up. You got your own song going now.
It's, you figure out what you want to be. And I've been very fortunate. Dave Feldman has allowed me to really grow into my role, and I'm very proud of it. And even working within the medical community with Dr. Don Muzi and creating a medical team and coming up with how do we make this better? How do we make it safer? How do we figure out what's the next step? And I think that's so important. So it all fits well together. I talk to Don a lot, almost on a daily basis, and it's exciting. And then you talk to the fighters, and you learn more. And you're in a position to make changes. And even sitting on the ABC committee to discuss, what's the best thing for the future, whether it's bare knuckle BKFC or BYB or BKB. At the end of the day, it's what's in the best interest of the fighter.
Yeah, I'm hoping Tennessee works that out eventually because Nashville, Tennessee with bare knuckle would be just sick. I mean, I just know the crowd. I know the atmosphere. I'm hoping one day.
I know. I was also involved with Barstool Sports, and they were going to Tennessee, and it's just there's a lot of energy over there. If you're in Nashville, I absolutely love Tennessee.
Look, I was talking right before we had when the pandemic kind of went down. I was talking to a few of the bars on the rooftop. We were going to do some kind of crazy, kind of like not a real thing, but wrestling and stupid on top and we were going to do it, and then the pandemic hit because I was thinking Nashville is just ridiculous. So when BKFC can get to Nashville, I feel like
we'll get there. We'll get there. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
So.
I saw the article. Your name said regulator, so I thought, damn, that's cool as hell. And because I was researching, I was like, this guy's got so much history, and that popped up, and I said, damn, Tennessee, look at him. But well, I got to ask you, the UFC, Dana White always talks about they have a room, they got the big board up, they got all the fighters, and there's a select few. How does it happen with the BKFC? I feel like the fights are getting better. I feel like the talent pool's getting better. Everything. It's got to be a pretty cool situation now with the stuff going on.
With David Feldman's a very smart man. He's he's a great businessman. He knows how to market, and he's worked on this for a very long time. And in the last 5 years, it's just exploded. If you look at UFC where it was 20 odd years ago, if we were smart enough to invest in it, then we'd be very retired wealthy. Yeah. But we'd probably not be retired. We would just keep doing what we're doing, but with more money.
A lot more money.
What David has been able to accomplish in a fraction of that amount of time from BKFC 1 to where we are now, 27, just amazing what has happened. And you're right. The sport has evolved. If you look at the fighters on the videos of 1, 2, 3 to where we are now, you're seeing a much more strategic fighter, a much more intelligent fighter. They're coming in and looking more, it's more of the boxing science. They're striking effectively. They're not doing overhand punches, breaking their hand.
Their body shots. They're learning body shots are valuable in bare knuckle. That's something that people are. I know their body shots. A lot of fighters want to get that blood, but I've been seeing a lot of stoppages with body shots.
Oh, without a doubt, and I'm seeing that the fighters have become a lot more clear on what they're going to do. Their training has changed, and they're coming in and out. They're much more strategic. They're not. It's nice to see the big knockouts, but.
They're not just brawling anymore. Yeah. They're kind of it looks technical, and you can see they condition their hands now. They're learning. Mm-hmm. You're seeing. I mean, you're seeing breakage, but you're not seeing as much now. You can tell.
Exactly. They're a much more intelligent fighter, and I think from the days of like Paulie Malignaggi and Artem Leboeuf, which was one of my favorite fights, and
That
Paulie being a Brooklyn boy, and that's he broke his hand in the second round and whatnot, and he kept fighting. He was the champ that he was, but we're not seeing that anymore. We're seeing you know. Seeing fighters that are putting on a show. I mean, you got 5 2-minute rounds. You've got to do it. You've got to fight, and they're not getting hurt. They're getting cuts, contusions, and abrasions, but they're fight. It's a better fight. We're probably the most entertaining combat sport out there.
look, I'm going to tell you, the thing that nobody can say is David. He's a genius because when this right here happened, I could tell you right now that when Errol Hawani's talking about it, when all the big media is hitting him, everybody, and I'm just the only thing I'm like, I know it's cool to be over there in England and all that stuff, but damn, David, could you do that one in Miami this time? You know what I'm saying? Like that's gonna be that's got UFC feeling on it right there, big time fight.
Well, you got to realize that it's funny. David had wanted to grow outside of the domestic U.S. and whatnot, and I was very fortunate coming from the ISK background, coming from a position where I knew Paul Hennessy, who goes way back with Scott Coker, and the Bellator pretty much runs everything in Europe. We have a footprint in my God. Probably over 40 countries over there. So I knew Paul Nichols, and I started making phone calls, and it worked out. I was like getting on the phone with David and say, David, we're in England.
Dude, look, it's going to be an awesome atmosphere.
So now we go from England once we're done there, already working on Ireland, Germany, Italy will happen. I've just sent David an email yesterday that we've got Luis Palomino, who is a Peruvian. We've got the fight, and we've got the okay to put it on in Peru. So he's a national hero over there. His fight was outstanding. I think Brito and him really banged it out for 5 solid rounds. A little controversial as to who got the win, but it doesn't matter. People just will remember a great fight.
And people are talking. They're talking. As a promotion, you want them to talk. If they're not talking about the fight, so people, even though they disagree or agree, everybody's talking. That's a win in the book for the promotion.
Oh, yeah. I tell that to fighters all the time. This is a place where you can, advance your career in a very big way or end it depending on your character. And, but people have a tendency not even to remember who won or lost in great fights. They just remember it being a great fight. And look how many in the UFC with the fight, with the house one. How many people did Dana give contracts to that didn't win? He just was so impressed with.
There's only a select few. Like this is a cool story. Nate Diaz, he hasn't won in 5 fights, but guess what? Everybody loves him. They don't even know if he wins the fight because he stands there and he's doing it. And fans, he could lose every fight, and guess what? They're coming to watch it, and that's all you got to. It's the fans love people that are going to bring it. That's what they love.
Bring the show, bring it, bring your best. I tell them all the time, and I'm very fortunate when we start off and introduce Dave Feldman, and then then Nate Shook, and we go through all the stuff that we need to, and then I talk to them about housekeeping, what we need to do, and all that. But at the end of the day, I tell them basically it's going to come down to the C's: competency as a fighter. Put on a show. Show everybody what you've got. They're either going to look at you and think of future champion. They're going to love you. The second thing is your charisma. You're going to build a relationship with your fans, and that's your currency. That's what's going to bring you bigger fights, bigger paychecks, because you're going to have a following. And then character, your ability to represent your name, your family, your school in such a way. So those are the things that are going to advance your career. And that only comes from watching 50 years of fighting and whatnot, and seeing who's made it to the top. And it's a big thing for them.
You know, I tell everybody every day, there's Conor McGregors out there. They just don't know they're Conor McGregors. You know,
Mhm.
Conor, 10 years ago, well, maybe 12 years ago, he was digging ditches. And now, I mean, the guy's got so much money. He's got a Lamborghini yacht. He don't know what to do. But guess what? When he comes to fight, no matter if he wins or loses, guess what?
Yeah.
It don't matter. And you know what? Another thing, the fans are going to die with you and live with you no matter what. You can see through Conor's life. I mean,
well, the greatest boxer of all time is Muhammad Ali. People loved him and hated him, but they paid to go see him fight. They wanted to see him lose. They wanted to see him win. But he created a whole era. He created it all for these fighters. The Conor McGregor's one by being
talking.
One. Yeah, he was the one that laid the foundation of being a character.
Imagine how much money Muhammad Ali would have made in this day and time with social media. The way he could speak, the trash talking he does, and the way he had to probably hold it back in the day.
Oh, without a doubt.
Back in the day, you couldn't talk as bad. Imagine it would be unreal. Probably it would be unreal.
Guaranteed. Muhammad Ali and the Conor McGregors. I think Conor probably emulated Muhammad Ali in terms of his charisma and his ability to sell himself to everybody.
He figured it out.
Yeah. So again, back to the fight in London. You're talking about MVP and Perry. That's going to be a great fight. But the one I want to watch, and I really can't help it, is Conor Tierney. And
Elmore.
And Elmore. I mean, Joe's a friend of mine, but Conor Tierney, my God, I watched him. He just had such amazing skills.
He's
fast. Going to be fight at night. I guarantee you that
they're going to come to see Perry and Venom, and and that's what you want. You want to have that big fight, but you want to have somebody out of this fight right here they're going to be fighting for a title or something, because this fight right here it's going to be. I'm looking forward to that fight.
I am. Elmore is one of the toughest guys I know.
He's never been knocked down. Never been knocked down.
No.
Never.
Yeah. So I got to remind him. Send me a new shirt. I wore out the last Joe Elmore shirt. Yeah.
I can't wait.
Go ahead.
Hey, I was going to ask you though. I heard that when somebody says something, they said that was the first sanctioned fight in England. Is that what? Somebody told me that's true. What does that mean? Because I've heard a lot of people say different, about sanctions. What does that mean? Because I know BKB and stuff.
No, that's a great question. And fortunately, like the ISK, the largest sanctioning body probably in the world, we started in 1977. We ISK sanctions over about 400 fights a year, as I said, in over 40 countries. And what we try to bring to the table is a sense of the most competent officials, judges, and referees. As a matter of fact, for the London show, we're bringing over Big Dan Mergliata and Andy Glenn. So I'm excited about that. We got Mike Belgrave from London, but in terms of them understanding what the difference between BKFC and BYB, BKB, we're going to do that. We're going to also put on a Zoom call, a training call before we get down there, with all the officials on. I also would like to invite the coaches to watch. I'll send you a link to it so you can actually, we're going to watch some of the videos, some of the clips of past fights, of situations where the ref stopped the fight for a cut or something that was a little controversial. And kind of explain what we did, why we did it, what decisions that were made by Dan or Andy, Chris Young, Kerry Hatley. Those are some of the finest bare knuckle fighting championship referees that we have. And we've never really had too much of a problem with our judges. Very fortunate because most of the fights are very clear as to who won. Like I said, with the exception, we've had some controversy over a few of them, but for the most part, and the sanctioning part is having officials that have very good track records in UFC, for example, or Bellator. I'm very good friends with like Eric Colon, Dave Terrell, Dave Ginsburg, Brian Miner. These are all outstanding Class A officials. And when you have them sitting in the chairs, it's going to be a very fair judging system going on. So the sanctioning bodies are very aware of that. I mean, ISK is very aware of who works for them and what their training is. And like I said, talked to Paul Nichols, the ISK director in London. We're putting together a training video with everybody involved, and then hopefully we'll get down there the day before and do a live one, and hopefully inside the ring if it's put together, or we can get together and just go over it where it's a little more visual with just the referees and the judges. And I know Paul has other London UK judges, UK referees who've done some of the other bare knuckle, and we want them to shadow. We want them to better understand what we're doing. As Dave Feldman brings more shows back to the UK, they'll be very competent. I wouldn't say they're all competent, but very they're officials that have seen firsthand what we're doing and have worked with us. And
See, that's smart, man. See, I didn't want to. That shows that it's not just, oh, let's put a fight on, because if you don't have the officials that don't know you. So for instance, I think BKB has an 18 count. These officials are different. They can't clinch, they can't do nothing. All the stuff. If that's what they're, and then y'all show up over there and I was wondering what was going to happen, and I'm glad y'all are saying that. And then it's going to teach the other people, so you can, when you come back, that's very smart, very smart.
Yeah, I think when you're comparing the apples to apples, me and bare knuckle to bare knuckle, I think what we've done is figured out, and Dave figured it out, and he's also surrounded himself with very competent people that always looking, how do we bring this to the next level? And the same thing with our medical team with Don Muzzy, bringing some of the best stitch doctors there, bringing, and has set up protocols that we all follow. It's very important for our referees to have a very good connection with the doctors that are ringside, so that they can look at one another and have this unspoken kind of communication that we're going to be able to call timeout, have them go look at a fighter. And I think, that's so important. But again, there are certain things you can't train people to do, but they do it instinctively. In the last show with Yuli Diaz, Chris Young, who's a really, really good referee, at one point when he had been cut badly and the blood was coming down, Chris could have stopped the fight because he was talking to the fighter, and I was leaning in very carefully to hear what he had to say and just read his lips. And instead of stopping the fight, he called time and went over to the ringside physician, who then stopped the fight. So now the fans understand what just happened.
That's smart.
It's so important that you have very competent officials. I remember Kevin McDonald watching me ref one night, and I had stopped the fight, and I went out and he looked at me and he said, if you waited 5 more seconds, he goes, you would have sold it. He goes, it's a great stoppage. He goes, but if you had repositioned yourself, walked back around the other side of the fighter and then waved it off, he goes, and that's 90% of what we're doing is trying to sell it to the fans. I mean, we're doing our job, and they're doing their jobs incredibly well. Dan Mergliata, I spent many years reffing with him in the same shows, and I just looked like a shorter version of him when I was doing it. And you need a role model.
Hey, that is true. You kind of, holy crap.
That's the way I look at it. It's like, you know what? If you want to be the best, follow the best around. And
my dad always said, if you want to be the best, find the best in shadow and be their shadow. They don't even have to see you; just follow them around and learn. That's what you got to do.
That's it. It was, it's been a great career, and as a fighter, as a coach, as an official, and now kind of hopefully this is where I'll stay for as long as I want to stay in the game. Watch this thing explode and bare knuckle just become the most exciting sport that's out there. Because even people that I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. I train with Hensel Gracie.
That's all, dude. That's awesome. My daughter's. That's all. I'm big into that. Oh, yeah.
I love that. But if you're watching MMA, and you don't understand the ground game, the average fan may get a little bored. And bare knuckle, you don't. For 2 minutes, they're going at it.
Even if you don't know what's going on, you're like, all right, okay, and you're gonna pick a side pretty quick. You're gonna see how it is. So that's what I'm liking. Is there any fights coming up that besides the one we talked about? Is there something that's coming up that excites you, like on any cards, like anything coming up, like a fighter or anything you see cool things coming up in the future?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, yeah, the Nate Shook is constantly reaching out to fighters. People calling him now. That's the evolution of the sport. Is more and more people coming from whether it be kickboxing, MMA, or boxing are now calling us saying, "I want to be part of this. This is something I got to get into." And rightfully so. You know, it may seem a little bit scary to come right out and get hit without a glove on, or to hit somebody after the first round, and you realize I can do this. You know, it's not for everybody, but for most fighters, nobody's ever said, "I don't want to do this again. I want to put
Yeah,
the on."
you can tell though. What was that guy that fought? He fought Barnett. What was Pork Chop?
Oh yeah,
Pork Chop. You could tell he was like, "This ain't boxing." You know what? This ain't. You could tell he was like it. And I was sitting there. I was thinking he was. You could tell he was like, "Whoa, this is a big difference." You could tell.
Oh, without a doubt. I'll never forget that. Chop Corley,
Yeah.
coming from a traditional boxing background, he's just like, you know,
Polly. I mean,
Paul, yeah.
I mean, if you got to think that your whole life you're doing with those gloves on and stuff, and then you start. It's a different. I mean, I've had old school guys like backyard guys that are like 60. That's all they done, and they said, "Oh yeah, you got to learn how to punch in bare knuckle." They didn't use tape on their hands though. They were, the underground stuff. So they said you had to learn how to punch.
Yeah.
So,
No, you have to, and this definitely is something that when they do it, they're hooked. It's kind of like skydiving. You do one jump and you either come down and I want to do this again. That adrenaline, and I think that's what bare knuckle gives you, is that adrenaline rush.
but I know I didn't want to keep too much longer because it was awesome. But I was going to tell you, I always tell people about up and coming fighters. And there's one fighter you probably, I don't know if you've seen yet. He's 2-0 in bare knuckle. It's at BYB, but he just recently finished a guy that was in Bellator that was a prime Bellator with a win at 145. Seth Schaefer. I'll send you the link. I'm hearing he's going to fight for like something in the future, and I know that as a fight fan, but also on the business side, because I want fighters to be seen, and I remember Seth when he didn't get his, and now he's fighting now. So anytime I'm talking to somebody that's standing in those cool pictures, I got to shout out Seth. So
Yeah.
I'll send you the link. Check him out because I mean he's what people want. I promise you. But
well, I think I think what we're hoping to happen, and Nate does the total lines where we're looking for guys that are looking for an opportunity to see if this is for them, and we can grow future champions. It's great to have the people like that we have that are big names coming from Bellator, UFC, or boxing. But if we can really find the up and coming young guys and let them develop and create their name in bare knuckle, then that's it. I mean,
I can't. I'm not going to get. He's going to be fighting like for probably a strap on his next fight and a
belt.
Yeah. So he's legit, and I always shout him out because I can tell you I remember at the beginning like he was just trying to get into bare knuckle, and now he's a dog and he's beat some dogs. So and another thing I was going to tell you, y'all gotta hook Tom Shelf up with a big fight at 155. He is due. He is due. I think he gets the winner of Chad or Palomino. If they fight, I feel like Tom is like killing it right now. But I had to shout my boy Tom out.
It's funny because I do like Tom. He's such a gentleman.
He's got that look.
He's got that look. But people ask me all the time, who do you like? I can never give an opinion one way or the other because
it's all your kids.
Yeah,
it's like your kids.
I mean, you talked about Barnett, Reggie. He's fighting Jared Grant, and both of them are on the 23rd coming up in Tampa. That's going to be a great fight. They've got a great card, for the.
Yeah, actually, I got that one because I'm looking for there. I think I got it right here because I'm actually looking forward to Jomi fighting. I'm a huge Jomi is a straight up dog, and I'm really looking forward to that card right there.
That is, I'm looking at it now as we talk. There's going to be some. Yeah, that's it. Jared and
Yeah,
That's
that's
gonna
gonna
be
be.
a war. That's gonna be a war because I like both those guys.
And I can tell you, I've watched all of Jomi's bare knuckle fights. At 185, his jab is nasty. I don't. He throws it at a weird angles and things, but like what he after Zion clipped him that time and he got up and he kind of, I mean, he put on a clinic and I feel like this is his fight right here. If he gets through this fight, I think he's got a good shot into the picture now.
Well, I think they're all good, like we talked about. Whether they win or lose, if they're going to be around, they put on a show. They're great, and Dave will bring them back and keep bringing them back. And they have a fan base, and like you're talking about, I'm talking about it, and
Yeah.
we're happy for both of them. We wish them both well, but
Let me tell you something funny. I was talking to another fighter on your white boy. He was former BYB, but now he's over at BKFC. He was fighting a BYB fight, and Jomi was supposed to fight him for the title, and Jomi got up in the ring and said something, and White Boy's crowd started throwing stuff at Jomi, and it was the most intense thing I've ever seen in my life. And I was thinking to myself, I got here with a beer can. I was like, this is bare knuckle. I love this shit. So with those two guys, and I have to shout White Boy out. I talked to him today. He's looking at he went down to 165 to come to BKFC, and I'm really looking forward to. Because he's got a good story, and I'll tell you what, I don't care what anybody says. If it's in Florida, he's selling 1,000 tickets straight up.
Oh, without a doubt.
Those people were throwing cans at Jomi in the ring, and everybody was dodging, and all because White Boy and what's his name double knocked each other down, Matt something, and the referee got up and Matt, and he said, White Boy, are you good? He said, he hit me in the back of the head. He said, are you good? And they called the fight and said he lost it, and the fans lost it. And they went crazy, was throwing stuff just for White Boy.
I heard that, fortunately, with the BKFC, we don't want to be recognized as a thug sport or fights in the fans fighting in the stands or in the parking lot and whatnot. We literally work hard to keep it under control. Because we want to be invited back wherever we are, and
that is true.
It creates an image that we don't want. We're not that sport. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, like WWE and wrestling on breaking chairs over guys' heads and whatnot. That's not us.
I tell everybody in football, basketball, baseball, the fans are going to take whatever you give them. At a football game. If you allow them to go on that field, they're going on that field. Just like in a fight game, if the crowd's going crazy, they're throwing stuff. It's got to happen quick because these days things happen. It's kind of scary these days the way everybody is. So you really don't know what the guy beside you's got on him anyway now.
Well, it's the same thing at the media weigh-ins last week, and you had Lorenzo and Richmond going nose to nose, and I was standing there, and it's kind of funny because I was having a conversation with both of them. Actually, I went over and I was talking to Mike Richmond, and then Lorenzo came over, and and it just kind of like kept growing, and I was like, okay, well, wait a minute,
that's what happens.
Yeah, but it was actually pretty funny because I know, and I was talking to Lorenzo and Mike afterwards. I never had to worry about getting hit, and I don't think those two would have gone to that level. It was all kind of a
pissing competition.
It was fun, but
it was fun.
It's the people right behind you that get caught up into that moment, and then you don't know what they're going to do. I know what Lorenzo's going to do. I know what Richmond's going to do.
I heard some people mouthing,
Yeah, and they're not going to ruin their chances to work with bare knuckle, to have Dave Feldman throw them out or, whatever. But it's the people that get excited, the fans or the people that were standing behind me that I'm like,
I'm glad you said that. That's not a fight that's booked, but I might be more excited if that fight was booked than the Perry fight because I'm going to tell you right now, Richmond, he's the only guy I've ever seen stand in Lorenzo's face and look at him and say, I'll whoop your ass in MMA, bare knuckle, chess, checkers. And he didn't flinch. He didn't do nothing. And I think it shocked Lorenzo because it kind of went – you could tell it went from, hey, what's going on to I was like – and I was very shocked. I was shocked. I was sitting there going like –
well, you gotta realize you're dealing with a Marine. First of all, and I think the world of Mike Richmond, but it started out, we were just having a conversation and all if you watch, when you realize that everybody behind you is holding up a phone, then something's wrong. You know, like
those chests start coming out. You can see their pecs are flexing, and I'm sitting there thinking, and see, they knew what they're doing because they're smart guys. Because you got to promote yourself. Because Lorenzo's acting like he don't want this fight because he wants us to beg him for this fight. Richmond's fighting for everybody because Lorenzo said some stuff that's pissing people off. But Lorenzo's playing the bad guy, right? Because he's like begging me for this fight, and people are like, and I want to see that fight because first off, Richmond can go from 145 to 185 and just beat the hell out of everybody. I want to see that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, without a doubt. But Lorenzo makes life interesting. I love the man to death. He's very entertaining, and he's the real deal. I mean, he not only does he talk the talk, but he walks the walk. If you get in the ring with him, you know you got to fight. And Richmond's just a class act. He's a Marine. He's just that guy that you look at and go, wow. Yeah,
he's just that modern guy. You know, he's that guy that everybody's just like. You know, like he should come out to Hulk Hogan song, you know, America. I mean, he's got that. And what's funny, he'll come out with like the Bam Bam suit, you know, he'll come out with a personality, you know, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, but that's a fight David needs to make right there.
You talk about future champions. One of the guys that I think the world of is Warren Thompson. And that guy is dangerous. He's a great fighter, great personality. He has that same Mike Richmond kind of image. He's just a badass. You better be ready to fight him.
When Richmond fought Dakota and did what he did to Dakota, I think it shocked everybody. I think everybody knew Richmond was the dude, but I don't think because everybody thought Dakota Cochran was just, you know, he's done beat all the UFC guys. He's that guy. But when Richmond beat him, and I mean, I was just like, you know what? I'm impressed. Like I'm a Richmond fan. That's why I tell everybody he won me over. And that's what he's doing to people because all the military people are seeing what's going on. And guess what? They're going to back him. They're going to support him. And that fight's going to be awesome if it happens.
No, that dude, Dakota, that night, I stood there with my mouth open. I went, oh my God. I think everybody did, you know.
Dude, listen, we were in Miami. I was about to be at a BYB event, and the next day, and we were at our house, and it was me and Jay Davis, Terphouse Farmz owner, and I had a guy that's never watched. This was his first bare knuckle event, and we were going to watch the fight that night, and he was going to see the event live. And everybody, you could hear Dakota Cochran, and he was like, I was like, yeah, this Dakota guy's the guy. He's fighting the Marine, but everybody said, and next thing you know, that was his first fight he literally watched, and he was like, damn. I was like, yeah, man, you got to watch a fight because I think I bet if you would have bet on the Marine that night, you would have made a lot of money that night.
Oh, without a doubt.
And, he's impressing everybody, but I wanted to thank you for coming on, and like I said, tell David. I've been trying to, you know, try to get David on. You know, I'm a neutral guy now, and everything, and I've been trying to talk to David about it and stuff. But just tell him he's doing a good job, and you know, and thanks for coming on tonight. And we're looking forward to these fights coming up. And anytime you want to come on, cut the crap, or talk history of bare knuckle or history of all your history, you can hit us up straight up.
That's the best part. That's you know, I was talking to Bernie Pafato in Ohio the other day, and we were going back. His great man, great fighter, and we were talking about Ernie Shavers, and you know. We just had a great conversation about the history, but where we've been, and we actually get to live through all these great fighters. And we have stories. Like I was on the phone with them for about an hour, just listening to stories, and they're fascinating. So there's a lot of people. Dave Feldman, with his background, his history, he's just right now probably the businessman I know. You know, so. Everybody, you know, you'll get him on. We'll get him on. Just keep.
I know. Look, I talked. I mean, I talked to Damon today. We're doing the celebrity boxing. So, I mean, I talked to him. It says, David, you know, he's like the great white buffalo, you know, like if you can, you know, you gotta zoom in, you gotta get him. But no, I was going to tell you also, like former fighter people that you know and things like that. Terphouse Farmz has a recovery thing for former fighters and things. Like a lot of fighters, they you know, they have sleep problems and things like that, and then they'll end up doctors giving them pills and things like that. Jay and them's worked out some things where they can help them with like natural, like CBD stuff at night times. Like he's like a lot of the fighters in BKFC and BYB, like during their training camp, he helps them, like, because you know how it is with pain and stuff. So if you know people, we can link them up and he'll hook them up, because we're trying to help fighters not have to deal with the doctors as much. And
well, that's really important. And I'm my background being a financial guy. Until 9/11. We're putting together the retirement plan for these guys, a non-qualified deferred compensation plan where part of their first goes into it, because when it's all over, they'd be nice for them to have a good chunk of change that they could start their own school, put their kids through college or whatever. So I was in a meeting today with some financial guys from BlackRock, and we were talking about it, and they wanted me to get involved with a couple other sports, putting these things together for the fighters. So whether it's medical, and non-invasive type procedures, or financial, that's so important. Like Ring 8 is a retirement organization for retired boxers, who some of the greatest boxers in the world are dead broke poor, from the old days.
I hate when I got friends that are older, my dad's friends, that once you get out of the game, they give you pills, and then it's just a cycle of life and all that stuff. And I hate that, man, because that's like it is in real workers, people that do like, people that's working like a manual labor and stuff. They have to make, the same thing. So we're all about that. But no, that's cool about the retirement and everything. But
it's out there for anybody any fighter that wants to be a part of it. I do it all pro bono. If they want a retirement plan, they want me to set it up. If it's not coming from a promotion with the purse and whatnot, I will help them. I will work with them. And whether it's setting up college funds for their kids, or any type of savings program for their future, I'm available anytime.
Is Elvis, is he still part of BKFC? Is he over at BKFC now?
Elvis Brito?
Who?
Which Elvis?
Elvis, little cool Elvis. I can't think of it.
He's still there. Yeah.
Okay, check this out. I asked Elvis about Jay Davis and Terphouse Farmz gummies. Asked him about when he sat at the table with me and Jay, and we were like, we gave him some. He was like, I love gummy, and we were like, these are strong. I asked him about the Terphouse Farm gummies.
I will do that.
He thinks we're tap out. See, because we were at a business meeting, and he were like, y'all are tap out, and like he wanted and what we were doing at the time, he thought he liked what we're doing. Just tell him, remember the gummy guys, because I've been trying to link. I can't find him on social media, and I got a new phone and I lost his phone number. Tell him Terphouse Farm, Jay and Cody Travis are trying to link up with Elvis. He loved us. We every time we talked to him until he left over at BYB.
I will do that for you. Well, this was awesome. Fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome, man.
If you ever need anything, just give me a shout.
I will. Thank you so much. Awesome.
Take care.
Yes, sir. That was awesome. That was awesome. That was an awesome show. And look, man, and I tell everybody, BKFC's got a lot of cool things going on. You're looking at I'd like the Perry fight and different things like that with Venom, but you've got Elmore, and Connor over there, different things, but the Marine, the Juggernaut, all the cool stuff like that. But last thing I'm going to say before I get off, I just thanks for the sponsors for hooking me up. First off, you got HKA USA, Any Fighters Apparel, boxing gloves, check them out. You got, of course, Terphouse Farm and MMACOIN. Like I said, if you're a fighter, you need some help with recovery and things like that, hook up with Jay Davis over there at Terphouse and be looking for some cool coin action with MMACOIN. We're going to finish off with a little bit of, I always like to do a little intro. Yeah.
Lights out when I do my thing. It's man down when I enter the ring.
I'm the king of the ring.
Terphouse put it down for the team. It ain't over till the champion sing.
I'm the king of the